All right, so good morning, everybody. My thought for you that I've been playing with this week is in coming back to the simplicity of what it means to just live. And the way I've been saying it is, there's the old kind of Buddhist koan, or the old Buddhist saying that says that before enlightenment, I chopped wood and carried water. And then after enlightenment, I chopped wood and carried water, right? Because it's meant to remind us that that enlightenment experience is something that happens in our perspective. It's something that happens in our mind. It doesn't fundamentally change what life is. It doesn't fundamentally change what our engagement in, well, it can change our engagement, but it doesn't change the foundation of what being is, right? Enlightenment is that moment when your mind finally realizes what's really important and what isn't, right? Or it finally realizes the unity of things that you were convinced were so different. So the practice that we have, right, says that everything is from one energy. It's all Brahman. And that it's all just moving these layers of perception that are over top of it, the states of consciousness that exist over top of it. And we get stuck in that, right? We get stuck in that feeling that the layers of perception are those complicated ways of looking at things, is that that's what we have to try to figure out, right? And we have to somehow unify those in order to accomplish this goal of yoga, this goal of enlightenment. But there's really nothing to do. That's kind of the joke, is there's nothing to do, because that unity already exists, right? There's nothing that you need to do in this life that's going to create unity out of craziness, right? It's already there because everything already is from that same foundational energy. But what we do is we get into our mind that certain experiences are the important ones and certain ones are not, right? And then we pull ourselves in those directions of what's really, of what we think is important and what we think isn't. And we start to take away the actual value of the routine moments, the mundane moments of our lives, right? So that's what I've been practicing for myself, is realizing that if you could just be fully happy, fully invested, fully comfortable with the most boring parts of your life, the most boring parts of your day, is that that's going to get you somewhere. Right? If you can see that all of those things that you do on the most basic fundamental level, right? You get up every day and you brush your teeth, you feed your cat, you make breakfast, you put gas in your car, you do whatever it is that you have to, all of those things, right? That's all there is to do. This idea that somehow there's going to be more than that, that's going to be the meaning of our lives. There's going to be more than that, a bigger story that's going to be the meaning of our existence. That's what pulls our mind away from feeling satisfied. That's what pulls our mind away from contentment. It's what pulls our mind away from that basic feeling of bliss that means that there's simply just this life. We're just living. And if you can just do that without that being pulled away, without wishing that there was something more, something else, then you start to come into that state of unity. To say that this moment where I am washing the dishes is just as important as any other moment that's going to exist in my life. Just as important. So can I treat it that way? Can I treat myself that way, that what isn't right in front of me, what I'm doing right in front of me, is the most important moment, right? So it's dropping ourselves in to that sense of unity instead of trying to create it, right? It's letting go of that feeling that there's something to achieve that's going to bring meaning to my life, and realizing that the meaning is just being here, right? It's where is your mind while you are living this lifetime, while you are living this moment. Right. So come back to a comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. And as I've been reading the Mandukya Upanishad, which is a whole teaching just on Om. And on Om being that representation of the energy that is everything, the Brahman. It said that if you can just understand Om, not as its individual parts, but just as an experience, then you understand everything. So if you can find yourself complete in this moment of just sitting here with your breath, with your lower back, with your neck, with your whatever else ails you, and not wish for anything else but to be this moment, and you fall into that unity because it's already there. The practice of yoga, there is nothing here to achieve. Only letting the mind and the heart and the body realize the perfection of what's already there. By perfection, I mean completeness. wishing for nothing else. And feel your breath moving a little bit more fully through the body. And allow your mind, whatever is there, to start to become the flow of the breath, so it unites with the breath. Means that you ignore or you don't pay attention to all of the different thoughts, but you just let them be part of that flow of the inhale and the exhale. Maybe you begin to feel or perceive that that flow of breath is already universal. It's already beyond you. The body receives the breath, but it doesn't create the breath. The body gives the breath back out into the world, but again, it's created nothing. Let your mind resonate with that universal quality of the breath. And take one more deep breath in. When you come to the top of that breath, pause and hold. And your deep breath out, your exhale is letting go of any desire to try to achieve something. Just be here. Do that one more time. Inhale the breath all the way in, pause and hold. And then on the exhale, as you release, letting go of any desire to achieve anything. Good. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, please, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. Bring the hands to the knees or the thighs, and then begin to cat-cow your spine, seated cat-cow. Good. I want you to pay attention in your cat-cow that your navel is actually involved here. So often we're talking about that moving of the spine, and we want that extension of the spine in both directions. And at the same time, when you are moving your spine, especially in long extensions like this, back bending like this, you want there to be a drawing in of the navel, because that's going to help create stability in the lower spine. So you're not just pulling the muscles of the back, you're not just pulling muscles of the spine, but you're actually balancing your lifting and lengthening with your navel. So as you're drawing yourself up, the navel draws in and up so that it supports the back bend. And then as you exhale, the navel is continuing to draw in and up. So again, it expands the lower back. So what you do with your navel throughout your day makes a huge difference in the amount of stress your lower back is carrying, right? And it doesn't mean you have to walk around with your stomach sucked in. It doesn't mean that you have to walk around with a tense belly, but it does mean that if your navel area is weak, if it tends not to engage or it tends not to be part of your regular attention, is that your lower back is carrying more stress during the day than you probably want it to. Good. Nice, you guys. Come back to stillness, please. Stretch the arms up alongside the ears. Interlace your fingers. Press heels of the hands up towards the sky. Pull in through your low belly. Pull in through your ribs. Push up through the crown of your head. Good. Chest nice and wide. Good. Lean to your right. Side body stretch. Good. Bring the ribs a little bit further to the right. So try and shift your ribs laterally. So you have less of a curve in your spine, but you're actually pushing out through that right rib cage. Good. And then let the right hand touch down to the floor. Keep the left arm reaching over the ear. Extend, extend, extend. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come all the way back up to center. Stretch both arms up. Interlace the fingers. Press heels of the hands up to the sky. Ribs in. Navel in. Good. Take it to your left, please. Side body stretch. Good. And really lean. So not just the curving of the body, but actually pushing the rib cage wider to the left so that you get that full reach from your right side where your hip and your torso meet. Good. And then let the left hand touch down to the floor. Keep the right arm reaching over the ear. Maybe you even walk your left hand further away from your hip so that you can really reach as long as you can through that right side body. Good. Keep your hips on the floor. Keep your butt on the floor. Nice. And then bring yourself all the way back up to center, please. Nice job. So separate the knees, bring the bottoms of the feet together. Good, Baddha Konasana. Beautiful. And then take your heels just a little bit further forward than you normally would. So lengthen the diamond of your Baddha Konasana. Good, and then send your butt back a little bit more. So important when you're working with your lower back, working with your pelvis, is finding where a level pelvis really is. And for many of us, when we bring the heels too close in Baddha Konasana, we tend to roll back onto the back edge of our sit bone. So you want to be slightly forward, almost like you're going to tip your pelvis forward, but it's really, for most of you, it's going to take it straight up and down. Use a blanket if you need, and then walk yourself forward, forward fold. Good. Yeah, and as you're coming forward, I want you to imagine that those inner thighs are rolling down towards the floor and you're actually sending your tailbone back behind you. So again, it's that feeling that you're kind of tilting the pelvis around the thigh bones. Good. And I want you to feel again that your navel below your belly button pulls in just a little bit so that you can really extend through your sacrum. So pull up from the back of your sacrum and then push back through your tail. Good. Take one more breath where you are. Nice, and then walk yourself back up. And move the heels a little closer in towards the groin. Good. Notice if that changes the way that you feel seated on your pelvis. If it does, this is where you bring a blanket in underneath your seat so that you can keep that tilt of your pelvis so it doesn't feel like you're falling back or rounding back, but you're staying upright on the edges of your sit bones. Good. So the heels are a little closer in. Press your baby toes into the floor. Pull your knees up. So I want you to actually engage. Okay, so engage your inner thighs to do it though. So don't just bring your knees up, but actually use your inner thighs to pull the knees up towards each other. Good. And then start to walk forward, bow inside the thighs. So bring the shoulders, the rib cage inside and squeeze those knees up towards your ribs. Good. And again, it's like you're tilting the pelvis slightly forward. You're sending your tail back. Good. You can walk your hands forward. You don't have to hold your feet here. So you have that long extension on your spine. Squeeze the knees up. Don't let go of that. Good. As you squeeze up, you're sending your groins down. So again, you're changing the rotation now of the thigh bones in the pelvis, right? That's what we want. So squeeze up, send your butt back. Good. Navel in. Yeah. One more breath, squeezing. And now stay in the forward fold. Just relax the legs and let yourself go a little deeper as the knees fall wide. Good. Nice, you guys. And then walk your hands back in, please. Good. Cross the ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees. Yeah. Good. Stretch your right leg back behind you, toes tucked on the floor. Yep. So it's like you're preparing for plank pose. So hands are underneath you. You do all the work that you would for plank. So you can bend the elbows if you want. You can hug those upper arms. Lift your chest forward. Drag those armpits, lower armpits down towards your hips. And then you're pushing into the ball of that right foot. And I want you to send that right inner thigh a little higher, almost like you're popping your pelvis up. So pull up through your low belly. Pull up through your low ribs. Round your back just a little bit. Good. And then once you've got that rounding, and it's almost like you're pushing your butt up towards the sky as well. Push your butt up. There. Good. Now lift your chest forward a little bit more. Drag those arms back. So you're lifting and lengthening through the spine, but you're not dropping the ribs. And now press into that right foot and drag forward. So it's not going to move in space, but it's like you're trying to pull your right thigh up into your pelvis. Good. So you pull, pull, pull in, and then feel like you're pushing out through the heel. Nice. Now take your left leg back to plank. Notice if there's a difference, right? You just did a lot of work on the right leg and the left leg is probably not doing anything. So try and do the same thing on the left leg, that you're pushing down and dragging forward. Good. Nice, you guys. And then navel in, push your hips to the sky, come back downward facing dog. Beautiful. And then come up high on your tippy toes, please. Bend your knees deeply and draw your hips back. So try and put your butt back to your heels, even though you're on your tippy toes and you're bending your knees. Good. Keep the low belly drawn in. So again, you're lifting the front of your pelvis up off of your thighs. Pull your hips back more. Pull back, pull back, pull back. Yeah, Pam, pull your hips back more. You can do it. There you go. Good, you guys. Push, push, push. Heidi, pull your ribs in. Drop your hips lower. Yeah, so I want your knees bent a lot, you guys, almost touching the floor bent. And push your hips back, 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 like you're doing child's pose, but hovering. Good. And then take the legs back to straight, all the way back up to the tippy toes. Good. Downward facing dog. Slide forward to plank pose again. Pull up as you bring yourself forward. Nice. And then bring your right knee down to the floor underneath your right hip. Left leg is extended. Do the same work on that left leg that you did before. So you're pushing down to the foot and you're dragging forward. So pull that left thigh up into your pelvis. Good. Pull up through your low belly, pull up through your low ribs, and you're pulling that thigh in, but then you're pushing back through the heel and the top of your right thigh. Good. So keep pulling that thigh up, but then draw back through the top of your right thigh. Nice. And then keep that as it is. That's your support leg. Stretch the right leg back to plank. Good, right? It matters, right? That moment of transition when you were lifting the right knee up, did your belly sag, right? Did you let go of your ribs? So pull the legs in towards the pelvis, lift your chest forward, push back through your inner thighs, pull up. That's it. And then butt goes to the sky, downward facing dog, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Good, keep your heels lifted a lot, but bend your knees, drop your hips back towards your heels, pull back, again, like you're doing child's pose, but you're hovering your knees above the floor. So navel draws in, ribs draw in, feel the expansion through your lower spine. I know you'd much prefer to be doing child's pose. Good. And then take your butt back up to the sky, up onto your tippy toes. Nice. Let the heels come back down towards the floor, downward facing dog. Good. And then step the right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky, high lunge. Good. Bend your back knee, please, so it's almost as bent as your front knee, so both knees bend a lot. And then drag that left thigh forward, your back thigh forward, and your front ankle squeezes back. So it's like you're leveling your pelvis again. Your hip points are going to lift up off of your thighs. You're dropping your weight straight down between the feet, so you're not leaning forward. Take your arms out wide, cactus arms. Good. Palms face forward. Squeeze your elbows in just a little bit. Good. Nice. Stacy, lift your elbows a tiny bit higher. There you go. Squeezing those elbows in, chest lifts. Nice. Take a twist to your right, please, so towards that front thigh, but keep that back knee bent. Good. And notice, right, where you're twisting from, navel in. Good. Start to straighten the back thigh, still in the twist. Drop that left forearm onto the right thigh, and then take the right arm over the ear, extend. Good. And as you're reaching out, you're pushing out through that inner thigh. Good. But you're still squeezing the feet towards each other. So Ken, the other way, bring your other forearm onto your thigh. Yeah, stay in the twist. There you go. Nice, you guys. And then come all the way back up. Inhale the arms to the sky, high lunge. Good. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Nice. Drop the back knee, please. Both hands come inside the front foot. Walk to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Come on down to your elbows, onto your forearms, whatever you'd like. Good. So it's tricky, right, when we say that my lower back is aggravating me, or my lower back feels like it's got problems. Your lower back is the intersection of a whole lot of muscle groups, a whole lot of things going on down there. So there could be a lot of factors that are leading to the lower back feeling achy or feeling like there's something going on, either misalignment or pain. And one of the big things is the hip flexors. It's actually the front of the pelvis that makes a big difference in our lower back. If we're tight in that area, it actually pulls our pelvis into a certain tilt, right? Misalignment. So we practice not to achieve something miraculous, but we practice to simply understand what balance feels like. Because our habits are pretty much never that. Good, you guys. Nice. Keep that left forearm on the floor or come up to your hand if you need. Take your right arm to the sky, spinal twist. But again, drawing into the low navel and watching here that you are drawing your right hip crease back and pulling it in. So you're pushing your left hip wide. You're pushing your left hip wide, back hip. Good. And then scooping your belly. Yeah, send the right knee over the ankle again if it's not there. You got it. And then release that hand back down to the floor. Nice job. Lift the back knee. Good. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Try to find that feeling in the lower spine, in the low belly here, where you are still lifting the pelvis up off of the thighs. So you can even bend your knees a little bit so that you can get that lift of the front of the pelvis, and then pull your hips back and let the legs come to any amount of straight that doesn't cause your pelvis to tip into that low back bend or into that arch. Good. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Yep, step that foot forward between the hands. Nice. Inhale the arms to the sky, high lunge. Good. Bend the back knee a lot. So the back knee bends almost as much as the front knee, and then pull that right thigh forward as you draw your left outer hip back. And then you're lifting from the lowest part of your navel. So lift your hip points up off of your thighs. Take your arms out wide to cactus arms and bring your front rib cage back and in. So it's like the front of your pelvis and your lower ribs are trying to connect with each other. Good. It's going to change the angle of your shoulders. That's great, because now you can actually feel what it's like to widen your chest without letting your shoulders fall forward. Good. Twist to your left, please. So turning towards that front knee, your back knee is still bent. Good. Elbows a little higher, Jan. There you go. Nice, you guys. Start to straighten your back thigh without letting the pelvis just tip forward. Straighten the back thigh, but keep lifting the front of the pelvis up. And then right forearm comes onto the left thigh, left arm comes over the ear. Little twisting side angle. Good. Keep that back thigh lifted, 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 Sandy. Good. And remember, even though that back thigh is lifted, you're still pulling that back heel in. You're pulling that back thigh up into the pelvis. Good. Come back to center. Inhale the arms up to the sky. I know, these are not easy transitions. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Drop the back knee. Both hands come inside the front foot. Walk to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Come on down to your elbows. Stay on fingertips. Use blocks. Good. Something to rest on. I think the beauty of that teaching of the Mandukya Upanishad is that it kind of gives you that, bottom line that says that if you keep letting your mind go, there's something that you're going to fall back on. That your mind's obsession, that if it doesn't figure it out, then the whole world is going to end, or that everything's going to be a disaster. The teaching is that if you let your mind go from that feeling of trying to achieve something, trying to do something, is what it will fall into. What it falls into is that basic foundation of unity. There is nothing outside of this moment that you need. Right elbow holds you or right hand holds you. Take your left arm to the sky, spinal twist. So we practice constantly dropping away from the activity of the mind and dropping into what's beyond that, what's beneath it. Good. Throat back. Nice. And then push that right hip wider and draw your left hip in. Yep. More, Rhonda. More. There you go. Yeah. Good, you guys. Release that hand down to the floor. Walk yourself back up. Downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, please. Upward push-up. Again, with that feeling that as you come forward to plank, that you are pulling up forward through the front of your thighs, that you're pulling up through the front of your pelvis. And then that continues as you draw your ribs and you extend your collarbones forward and push up through the back of your head. Good. Lower down slow to your belly, coming through knees first if you need. Nice. Forehead to the floor. Walk your hands back so that your arms are straight, reaching towards your feet, palms facing down. Good. And you're pressing your fingertips into the floor. Lift the front of your shoulders up off of the floor. Good, but keep your chest where it is. And then extend out through the legs. So lift just the legs up. So you're coming into that half locust pose. So the inner thighs lift up, but the front of your pelvis, the front of your thighs is pulling up in towards the front of your pelvis. So you're pulling the thighs forward, but you're pulling your tail back towards your heels. Good. Now just kick your feet a little bit like you're swimming. Good. But the whole time you're doing that, keep the front of your pelvis pulling forward and up. Good. Yep. Move your feet. I can see you. Move your feet. Good. Move your feet, move your feet, move your feet. Good, Fred, I can see your feet. Awesome. Lift both legs, inhale, extend, and then release the feet down to the floor. Good, now plant the feet where they are, tops of the feet stay where they are, reaching out through the length of the legs. Keep the shins pressing down, but forward. And then begin to lift head, neck, and chest. Keep your fingertips on the floor. So it's like you're doing the other half of locust pose. Good. Draw your low rib cage in. Yep. And try and find where the middle of your back rib cage starts to rise up. So it's not the front of your chest that matters here. It's the back of your middle ribs is pulling up towards the sky. Good. Nice. And now bring the legs up with it. Start to extend. Good, but pull the front of the thighs forward, forward, forward. So it's still your ribs and your pelvis trying to meet each other. And then the back of your ribs pull up, the inner thighs pull up. Good. And then release all the way back down. Nice. Plant your hands, press up to hands and knees. Good. Cross your right thigh in front of your left thigh. Separate your feet and then start to walk yourself back until you sit between your heels. If you need a block underneath your seat, you can put a block there. If the knees really don't like this position, you can instead just cross your right shin in front of your left. Good. But this is one of those poses that if you have lower back things, I highly, highly, highly recommend it, either seated or on your back. So if seated doesn't work for you, on your back is a great option. But Gomukhasana is super fantastic for helping to relieve outer hip stuff and releasing some of that stress from when our SI joints are out of balance. Good. So as you're here, I want you to almost feel again that you are pulling your knees up. So as much as we say take the feet wide, I want you to almost pull that top knee up towards your belly. Good. So use your inner thigh to do it. Don't just use your legs, but pull that top knee, angle it up just a little bit. Good. And then see if you can feel that internal rotation. Push your sit bones wide. Good. Yeah. So there's a squeezing of the legs as you push your sit bones wide. And then take your arms up alongside your ears. Good. Left elbow bends. Place the left hand behind your heart. Right hand holds the tip of your left elbow and just stretch through the upper arm. Yep, you got it. Try and drop that right sit bone down towards the floor even more, you guys. Yep, and then it's going to shift your rib cage over to the right. Good. So Sarah, shift your ribs over to the right. Yeah, so don't twist, actually move your ribs. There you go. Good. Yeah, some of you are doing both arms in the stretch here. That's okay. I'm only asking you to do the top one. Good. Take one more breath. And then release the arms. Take your arms back behind you. So fingertips to the floor behind you. And just let yourself rest back on your fingertips. Lift and open the chest. Good. Jackie, take your hands a little wider. Take your hands wide, you guys, so that when you drop back, there's that feeling of complete support. Good. And hips stay rooted to the floor. Awesome. Then bring yourself all the way back up. If you can, take a forward fold here. If not, just take another breath or two where you are. But make sure even in your forward fold that there's a squeezing happening of your legs. So you're squeezing the inner thighs towards each other and sending your groins back. Good. Internally rotating the thighs is incredibly helpful for lower back stuff because it helps free up the pelvis and the hips. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Nice. So we're going to try this. It's going to be really fun to do virtually. You're going to take your hands, both hands, to the outside of your left hip. Left hip. There you go. And you're going to begin to walk your hands to the left. You're going to lift your butt. Yep. Keep turning your body. You're going to come into a forward fold facing the back of your mat. Yep. Lift your butt. Straighten your legs. Forward fold, back of your mat. Pause there for a moment. Yep. Forward fold facing the back of your mat. Your legs should still be apart. Yep. Pause for a moment. And then keep walking to your left. Now you have to remember which way is left. Turn your toes. Yep. Bend your right knee down towards the floor. Yep. Take your butt to the floor. Your left leg should be stacked on top. Yay. Good. If that didn't make any sense, just find your way to where you are seated on the other side with your left leg crossed over the right. Most of you got it. Good. Nice, you guys. And again, there's that little bit of a squeezing. So your sit bones are both anchored to the floor, but you're squeezing the inner thighs in towards the midline so that you have a little bit more openness on that top leg. Good. And then stretch out the arms up to the sky once you found it. Flex your feet if your feet are really wide. Make sure your feet are flexed. Good. And then your right elbow bends, right hand comes to the back of your heart, left hand comes to hold the tip of that right elbow. Good. And you're drawing that elbow straight up towards the sky. So you're just creating that long line from the tip of your elbow straight down through the rib cage. Good. And then you're noticing in what weird way your ribs have gone off balance here. So for most of us, that means that you have to push your rib cage out to the left, and you've got to drop your left butt cheek down to the floor more. So not leaning to the left, but actually shifting the ribs to the left. So Alice, you've gone too far. You actually have to go back to the right. There you go. And then soften your front rib cage in, you guys. Drop your seat. Good. Nice. Keep squeezing the legs. It's not a passive stretch here. Good. And then release the arms out and down, please. Take your fingertips back behind you. Again, arms a little bit wider so that you can rest on your fingertips. Lift the chest up. And again, don't just lean onto your hands. Use your fingertips as an opportunity to lift and open your chest. That this is a back bend. And as you're back bending, lifting your chest, draw your front ribs and drop your seat again. So your whole spine is part of that back bend. Send your butt down to the floor. Good. And then walk yourself back up, please. Nice. Forward fold here if that's available. If it's not, stay where you are. Flex the feet if the knees are a little bit questionable in this pose. Nice. Good. And walk yourself back up, please. Nice. Unwind your legs. Bring the legs straight out in front of you. Feet as wide as your mat, so separate your feet as wide as your mat. Good. And then reach forward, finding the ankles or the shins or the feet, whatever you can comfortably reach. Good. And start to cat-cow your spine. You're folded forward just a little bit, but then you're moving your spine. Nice. So straight legs, Jen, see. There you go. Yep, straight legs, straight legs, straight legs. Good. Nice, you guys. Try to keep the legs as straight as you can, even if that means you have to hold higher up on the legs. Good. And then find your place where you are holding. Inhale, long spine. So pull your spine as long as you can. Send your butt back, thighs down. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows. Pull yourself in deeper forward fold. Let your elbows go wide. So big, wide chest, wide back. Good. This is the most important moment that you have. This is the entire world right here. And I've been questioning myself a little bit that, you know, part of what takes our mind away is that because we think that the next moment is going to happen or that there's something else coming later, or that we have to look forward or look back, is that we don't put everything we have into this moment. Right? We hold back. It's not that life isn't everything that it should be, it's that we don't give everything that we are for whatever the reason. So can you give yourself 100% to this moment like there's nothing else? And walk yourself back up. Good. Bend your knees, cross your ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees. So come forward again. Nice. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Good. Step your right foot forward between the hands. Yeah. Good. Drop your back heel, baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Good. So there's a squeezing of the feet towards each other. There's an opening through the chest. And then come up on the ball of your right foot. So lift the heel of your front foot. Good. And then you let yourself go a little deeper into that lunge as you squeeze your feet towards each other. Nice. And then keep that energy, that activity. Let the heel drop back down towards the floor. Good job. Right forearm comes onto your front thigh. Left arm comes over the ear, side angle. Good. Don't let all of your weight fall into your front knee. Pull back through that back thigh. Yeah. Nice, you guys. One more deep breath in. And then keep your left arm where it is. Float your right arm up so it's off of your thigh, but your arms are crisscrossed. So you're still in side angle, but stretch the right arm reaching straight out from the chest. Crisscrossed arms. Good. So Lydia and Linda, just take that right arm underneath you. So it's pulling underneath. Good. That's all right. And then come all the way back up to warrior two, please. Arms wide. Beautiful. Straighten that front thigh, please. Nice. Reach the right arm forward or right rib cage forward for Trikonasana, triangle pose with that right hand touch down, left arm to the sky. Good. And then take your left hand to your lower back here, you guys. So take your left palm flat to your lower spine. Good. And look towards your belly button. So I want you to actually round into your rib cage, push into your hand. Good. So that pushing into your hand, right, you're rotating that right butt cheek back towards your left heel. So try and do that. Rotate that butt cheek back. Good. It's going to pull your knee out to the side. That's fine because now you can push down through your big toe mound, hug in your shin, and that's going to balance the leg. But your butt cheek is pulling towards that back heel. Keep that roundness in your lower spine, in your ribs. Start to lift your left shoulder up towards the ceiling. So rotate the heart open again without letting the hips swivel out. Good. Keep that energy of tail towards your back heel. Good. Open the chest, open the chest, open the chest. Don't push your ribs forward. Nice, Ronnie. Nice, Laura. Throat back. Good, Rosalind. Excellent. Good. Take the left arm back up to the sky. Don't push your ribs out. Nice job. Bend that right knee, please. Take both hands down to the floor inside the front foot. Good. Pause there for a moment and then walk to your left until you come to the center of your mat. Straighten the legs. Turn the right toes. Prasarita Padottanasana. Good. Let yourself bow deeper. Also a great pose for lower back stuff. Important, though, that you continue to lift up through the lower navel. Nice. Beautiful, you guys. So why is this a great pose for the lower back? Well, it creates a very open sacrum, but it's also stretching the outer hips. So again, the things that meet all the juncture at the lower back is that we're looking for everything that comes to meet there and create disturbance. So your outer hips are a big one. Creates disturbance. It's not your lower back's fault that your hips are tight. But your lower back is the one that ultimately bears the stress, right? Good. Walk yourself back towards the top of your mat, please. Right toes turn forward. Keep your left heel where it is. Good. So you're turning your feet back towards warrior two. Good. And then you're taking your left hand up to your left hip. Right hand comes forward towards the beyond the toes of the front foot. You can use a block if you'd like. Ardha Chandrasana. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Good. Yeah. Left leg extends back. Nice, you guys. Good, and that same feeling, you can bring your left hand back to your lower back here. Create the same feeling you had in triangle pose where you are pulling your right butt cheek back and in like it's pushing towards your left heel. So you're lengthening your own lower spine. Good, and then you can turn those left toes out a little bit more because that's gonna actually stack your hip a little bit more realistically. Turn your ribs open a little more, but pull that navel in. Good. I know. And then maybe you take the left arm to the sky, or maybe now you're so focused on what your legs are doing that you don't even care about lifting your left arm to the sky. I would love for you to feel that way, that you stop caring about there being some sort of achievement that you have to do more. Is that you can just put everything you've got into what you're doing. And then that means it's enough. It means it will eternally be enough. Good. Step it all the way back. Nice long lunge, please. Release the hands down to the floor. Good. Step back, downward facing dog. And then drop the knees to the floor, child's pose. Good. We use the term when we are in a state where the mind is really stuck on trying to reach for something other than what we have. Whether it's attachment, whether it's aversion, it doesn't matter. Right? The yogic thought, they're the same. Pulls us away from that feeling that there is a wholeness to right now. When we get that way, the suggestion is, the teaching is, can you surrender? Can you give up that feeling that there's supposed to be something more, so that you can really embrace that you are everything? That this moment is everything. There is no better moment out there. There's just this one. There is no better way out there. There's just the life that you're living. So you've got to live it. The more we step away from that feeling that there's supposed to be something more, something different, and then that would mean that we would feel a different way. The more we step away from that, we abandon that, we surrender that. What we fall back to is the Brahman. Everything that you need is here in this moment. Mind might not have realized it yet, but it's here. I chop wood and I carry water. I just live. And that's enough. Bring yourself back up to downward facing dog. The simplicity of that is what eludes our mind. It says it can't possibly be that that's all there is. It can't possibly be that there's not something I'm supposed to be accomplishing here. Good. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Take the back heel parallel to the back of your mat, baby toe. Cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Good. Yeah. And give yourself a chance here, you guys. Take a look at what your front knee is doing. Move your knee so that it's pointing towards the second or third toe. And if that changes the angle of your pelvis, fantastic. Rotate to where your knee is in good alignment. And then however your hips have shown up for that, that's where your hips go, right? So you're still sending the inner thigh of the back leg inward, not outward. You're sending it inward, up and back. And then you can turn the ribs out to the side to create that openness through the chest. But don't get into that feeling that I've got to pull my hips to the side, because that's going to create a lot of tension. It's going to create a lot of stress. Good. Come up on the ball of your front foot. Good. And that's going to tell you a lot about where your weight is distributed. And as you come up onto the ball of the foot, squeeze the feet together. Let your knee go forward towards the ankle. So Lana, switch what you're doing. So your heel is lifted. Yeah, the heel is lifted. There you go. Nice, you guys. Good. One more breath. So you're going deeper into that lunge, power of your legs. And then let your heel touch down towards the floor. Nice job. Left forearm onto front thigh. Right arm comes over the ear, side angle. Good. Keep that knee over the ankle. And then again, that back thigh is rotating slightly inward. Good. And the ribs open back up. So it's almost like there's a spiraling through the spine. There's always a spiral in every pose that we do. There's one limb moving this way, another limb moving that way. Good. Lisa P, just make sure that you're not pushing your hips forward. Draw the top of your right thigh back and in. Good. Keep the right arm where it is, you guys. Take the left arm up off of your front thigh. Reach it straight out from your chest, so it's reaching underneath. So it's like you're crisscrossing your arms. And pull into that twist a little more. So you're opening the right rib cage higher. Good. You got it. And then come all the way back up, warrior two, arms wide. Very good. Straight in the front thigh, please. Preparation, Trikonasana. Reach the left rib cage forward, extend, and then let that hand come to touch down. Right arm comes to the sky to start. Use a block underneath your hand if you need. Good. And then bring your, what's that hand in the air? Your right hand to your lower back. Good. And then look towards your belly button. So round into your spine. So it's going to pull your shoulders back in space, which is good because you want to get out of that feeling that you're automatically in an arch in this pose. So send your left butt cheek back and in towards your back heel. It's going to rotate your front leg outward. It's going to rotate your knee slightly outward. It's going to feel like it pulls your weight towards the baby toe of your foot. That's fine. But pull that butt cheek back and in. Change the angle. Good. Then set your energy into that big toe mound of the front foot. Good. Feel your shin pulling in, but your butt cheek hugging the other way. Scoop into your low belly. Pull up through your pelvis. Push your butt to the sky. It's going to take that front leg straighter. Good. Now start to stack your rib cage higher. So right ribs come on top of left, throat moves back. Don't push your ribs forward. So keep tucking the ribs in. Good. Keep that fullness on your lower back. Nice. And then maybe you take the right arm to the sky. Maybe you leave that hand right where it is. Good. But I want you in this position where there's a feeling that there is no stress on your lower back, that there's nowhere that you are crunching into your spine. There's no arch in the ribs. There's no arch in your lower pelvis. Good. Nice, you guys. One more breath. Look like you like it. And then bend that front knee, release the hands to the floor. I'm not sure that that worked, that you all looked like you liked it. Good. Both hands to the inside of the front foot. Walk to your right until you come to the center of your mat. Take the legs to straight. Prasarita Padottanasana. Hang. Hold opposite elbows. Good. If your forehead comes to the floor, let your forehead come to the floor. Yeah. And then you're squeezing the feet towards each other, but can you really release through your spine? Nice, Debbie. Nice, Harriet. Good. You surrender your disappointment. You surrender your expectations. Can you surrender everything that pulls you away from this moment being absolutely everything that there is? Because of course we know that there will be many, many more moments. You can't experience them yet. You can only be where you are. So this is everything. This is it. If there is nothing better to be waiting for, then why wait to feel that you're whole? Release the hands down towards the floor, please. Walk yourself back towards the top of your mat. Turn your left toes forward again. Keep the right heel flat. So you're turning the legs back towards that warrior two position. And then you're coming into Ardha Chandrasana. So your right hand can come up to your right hip. Again, that gives you a sense of where is my pelvis in space. Slide that left hand forward beyond the toes of the foot. Use a block if you'd like. Step up, Ardha Chandrasana. Good. Right hip stacks on top of left. Toes turn to the side. Nice melody. Good. And then bring that right hand to your lower back just for a moment. And again, do the same thing you did in triangle where I want that left butt cheek pulling back and around. It's going to feel very, very awkward now, especially because you're standing on one foot, but it's the same thing you just did. So pull that left butt cheek around and then re-anchor into your big toe mound. Now you can start to lift your right hip point higher if you can to open up a little more. You can bring your right rib cage higher, draw your throat back, but pull your ribs in like you're trying to pull the front of your pelvis up towards your belly button. Yes. And then maybe you take the right arm to the sky. Maybe you stay where you are. Good. Left butt cheek pulls back and around. Nice, nice, nice. Step it all the way back, please. Nice long lunge. Good. Release the hands to the floor. If that felt like a ton of work on your outer hip or your butt cheek, fantastic. Your standing leg was doing what it was supposed to do. Step back to downward facing dog. Good. Drop the knees to the floor, please. Child's pose. Is this a lot of work? You guys are making it look like it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I know. I've done it myself. Yeah. But this is sort of what I mean, right? Is that we can practice in a very passive way where we think that if we just go through the poses or we just go through the right routines that somehow everything's going to add up to be what we want it to be, that we're going to feel the way that we're supposed to feel. But if we're doing it and we're only putting 30% of our attention into it, we're only putting 50% of our desire into it, we're not surrendering anything, nothing changes. Walk your torso to the upper right-hand corner over your right thigh. Right, so my question to myself, my question for you is, how often do you put 100% of yourself into any moment? And what would encourage you to do that? That even if it seems like you're doing nothing important, can you put 100% of yourself into it? Where there's nothing that you're holding back. What it means to surrender, right? Come back to center, go to your left. The yogic term Ishvara Pranadhan, surrendering to that which is bigger than you, that's outside of you. You call it God if you want. You can call it Brahman, the energy that is everything. Call it whatever you want. And it means that you surrender not what you think is your strength, but you surrender your weaknesses. You surrender your avoidance. You surrender your ignorance. You surrender your desire for something more than what you are. That's what you surrender. Step away from it, and what you receive back, or what you fall into, is that basic reality that was already there. What a relief. Come back to center, please. Good. Then bring yourself up to kneel, please, up on your knees. Yep, so bring the knees underneath your hips. Good. Bring your hands to your hips, so you're up in a kneeling position. If you need something underneath your knees, you can use it here. And then you're going to tuck your toes under. Tuck your toes under. Yep. Yeah, that's it. And then you're going to drop your hips back onto your heels. So sit back on your heels with your toes tucked under. Good. Request was for feet. Now you feel your feet. Take your arms wide, please, letter T. Right arm crosses in front of left, wrap the arms for eagle. Good. And if it's, I know this can be an excruciating position. So if the toes and the feet or the ankles are not in a position where this is really possible, then don't stay, or make sure you roll something up underneath your ankles or between your knee creases. You can also have the feet flat here if you absolutely need to. Good. Come up off of your feet for a moment, lift up, stretch the arms out wide. Good. That's your break, right? Cross the arms the other way. So other arm on top, drop your hips back onto your heels. Toes still tucked if you can. So there's a feeling here that you're dropping your hips back onto your heels, but if you drop yourself like a cannonball, it's going to be really painful. So you have to draw your ribs back, extend up through your spine, push into your feet, push into your shins. Good. Navel in, front of the pelvis up. Relax. I know it's challenging, but relax. This is the best moment there is, the only one there is. Good. Come on out, please. Stretch the arms. Nice job. Either keep your toes tucked or untucked. Take your hands to your lower back. Good. Camel pose. So again, if you need something underneath your knees, make sure you have it. Beautiful. And then send your hands pushing down through your butt cheeks. So your hands are at your lower back. Push down so that you're lengthening your tail towards your heels. And at the same time, you're pulling up through the front of your pelvis. So you're creating this kind of really neutral place at the front of your thighs. Start to hinge back, not arch back, but hinge back. So move your butt back in space. Push your butt into your hands. Keep that neutral line at the front of your pelvis. Then start to reach your armpits up away from your pelvis and lift your chest higher, 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 higher. Now you can lean back a little more, drop your hands towards your heels if you want, or keep your hands at your lower back. But your thighs are constantly lengthening. They're never pushing forward with the idea of trying to squeeze your butt and tighten. Is you want to keep your low back wide. So keep drawing the inner thighs back, keep pulling long. Armpits move away from your hips and throat moves back. Good. Nice, you guys. And then navel in and up. Come all the way back up, please. Nice job. Toes come untucked. Drop your hips back between your heels this time. So Virasana. Use a block underneath your butt if you need. So you're no longer sitting on your heels. You're sitting between your heels. Good. Nice. And then let your hands walk back behind you again. Nice wide arms. So you're resting on your fingertips behind you. Nice. Inner thighs pull down, groins pull down. So you're not losing that feeling of settling in your seat. If you can come back further here onto your elbows and you'd like to, go ahead. Good. If you know that you can lay flat here without anything underneath you and you want to come all the way down to your back, you're welcome to do that. Good. Mark, pull your knees just a little closer to each other. Good. Nice. If you're all the way on your back and you want to take it into a different back bend, you can put your hands alongside your ears and push up almost like you're in a wheel. Just another version of camel. Good. And that's the idea, you guys. It's just another version of camel. Hug your knees towards each other, so. Nice. And then slowly find your way all the way back up. Good job. Good. Lift yourself up back off of your heels. Normally I would say if you need help, wave a hand, I'll come help you, but I can't. You're going to have to get your dogs to do it. Rescue dogs. Good. Come back up onto hands and knees. Please do a little hip circling, a little cat-cow if you need. Good. Nice. And then just press back to child's pose for one breath. So again, you're just setting your pelvis straight back. Good. And then come on back up, come forwards. You can come onto your backs, please. Say peas, as my daughter would say. What do you say when you want someone to do something for you? Say peas. Good. Onto your backs. Feet planted. Good. So set the feet like you would for bridge. And then your left heel is going to stay where it is. Take your right leg extended straight out from your hip. So take it up to the sky, just extend it straight up, and then bring it forward until your knees are in line with each other. So your right leg is going to be out at an angle. So your knees are in line with each other. So pull that leg out so it's at an angle. Set your arms alongside you into robot arms, elbows bent, breathe down. So it's like a one-legged bridge. You're pushing down into your arms. As you lift your hips up, you're pushing out through that right heel, and you're dragging your left heel back. So lift the hips up, keep your knees in line with each other. So that right leg has to come forward at an angle. Yep, good, good, good. And you're pushing out and you're dragging in. Lift those hips up, knees in line with each other. So drop the right knee, Heidi. Drop the right knee a little bit, Barbara. Good, you got it. And then release the hips back down. Yep, leg can come up, it's gonna stay up. Good, same thing. Bring that right leg forward, knees in line with each other. Press down through the upper arms, lift the hips up, extend out through that right leg. Good. Yep, one-legged bridge, extend out and squeeze in. This helps to balance your SI joint, so that right and left side of your sacrum. Good. Drop the hips back down in case that motivates you to be more invested in it. One more on this side, right leg up. Extend that heel forward so that your knees are in line with each other, and then lift the hips. Good. Drag that left heel back, push out through the right heel, and pull back through the right thigh. So you're pushing out and extending in. Lift from your ribs here still, you guys. But don't just push into your butt. Good. And then release the hips back down, please. Release both feet to the floor. Just pause and rest for a moment. Good. I know that seemed like it was a lot. You did 3. Normally you would do 10 as like a therapy exercise. So just keep that in mind. What does it take for you to put 100% into what you're doing, even if what you're doing seems like it's impossible, it's difficult? You're not sure what it's going to come out to be. So what it comes out to be doesn't matter. What matters is how you are living this moment. That's what creates the feeling of either wholeness or fractured. It creates the feeling of either joy or despair. How you are living this moment. So try the other side with 100% of yourself and not wishing for it to be anything else. Left leg up. Good. So flex the foot. You want a strong, active leg. And then bring the leg forward so that your left knee is in line with your right. Right heel is in line with your right hip. Good. Press into your arms, lift the armpits, and then come up into that one-legged bridge. Press out through your left heel. Keep your knees in line with each other. So Lauren, drop that left knee a little bit lower so that it's in line with the right. Yeah, bring it forward, Lauren. There you go. Yeah, you got it. And then release the hips down to the floor. Good. Same thing, left leg extends out, knees in line, left knee and right knee in line with each other. Press into your arms, lift your ribs, lift your hips. Good. Be conscious of one side being more difficult than the other, right? It starts to tell you which side is a little bit weak. right? Which side is maybe the one that has been out of balance and so can't support you the way that it normally would. Good, release the hips down. You've got one more, don't give up. Good, take that leg back out so that the knees are in line with each other, press into the arms, lift the armpits, lift your hips. Good. Again, if you have that feeling of one side of my pelvis or maybe even both feels like they're not in line with each other, one leg feels a little stuck, this is a great exercise to do. Release the hips down to the floor. You don't want to do it, but it's a great exercise to do. Release the feet flat to the floor. Pause there just for a moment, constructive rest. Try not to give in to the desire to just pull the knees into the chest. If you did, it's okay. You didn't break anything. Go ahead. Nice, you guys. And then take your right ankle on top of your left thigh, please. Lift your left shin parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold the thigh. As you pull in, push back out. Good, flexing the feet. This is another one that I would say that if the low back is a little irritated or a little bit tight, this is a position that you should be doing every day. Again, you can do it this way, or my other favorite way to do it, and many of you have done it with me that way in class, is if you have wall space, is you would put, in this case, your left foot would be on the wall and your knee would be at a 90-degree angle. So it would be, straight out from the wall, and then you cross the right ankle on top. Gives your lower back something to really rest on. So push your low back down to the floor here, you guys. And as you push your tail down, you're scooping that low part of your belly. Nice. Keep holding the thigh. Please extend your left heel up towards the ceiling. Good. Keep pushing your low back down to the floor. Nice. And then pull that left thigh in towards your belly a little bit more. So pull it in as far as it will go. Navel in, push back out through your lower spine. So push your butt back down towards the floor. Good. Let's squeeze that thigh in and then push the butt back and down. Nice. Good. Release your hold on the thigh. Please cross your right leg all the way on top of your left. Bend both knees. Separate the feet. Reach for your ankles or your shins. This is the same pose you did sitting up, Gomukhasana. And again, I highly recommend it for lower back stuff. If you can't do it sitting up, or it just feels better to do it on your back, do it on your back. Because again, internal rotation is very, very important for releasing stress in the sacrum. Good. So again, squeeze your feet towards each other here just a little bit, even though I just told you to take them wide. Squeeze your feet towards each other. And then scoop your belly and push your butt back down to the floor. Good. Nice. And then release your feet. Press your shins against each other. So now you're taking the legs into eagle. So the right leg is still on top. Just press your shins against each other. Don't double cross the ankles, even if you can. Don't do it, because then you're relying on your ankles being locked to keep your legs there. Flex your feet though. Press your shins against each other. Good. Move your knees forward so they're right on top of your hips. So move them away from your belly a little bit. Wrap your left arm over top of right in front of your chest. So you're an eagle on your back. Good. So feel the whole length of your spine. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring your elbows and knees towards each other. Round your back, squeeze in. Good. And then extend back out so you find your whole spine. Inhale. Good. Exhale, squeeze knees and elbows together. Release. And one more time. Inhale and exhale, squeeze together. And release everything. Unwind, knees in towards your chest. I know, WTF, you said low back and all you wanted to do was lay on your backs and stretch. And what the heck is this? This is surrendering yourself 100% to what it takes to balance your lower spine. Good. Left comes on top of right thigh, please. The right shin comes parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold the thigh. Yeah. Nice. You surrender all of your reasons to be disappointed in this moment. All of them. Every reason there is to not be 100% satisfied with what's happening. And you let that go. Because it's not going to reduce your desire to keep moving forward, to let go of disappointment. As soon as you realize that there's something to be done, you can do it. If there's a desire to do something, you can follow it. But the disappointment just makes you unhappy while you're doing it. Good. Stretch that right leg up to the sky, please. Yeah, and then pull that thigh in towards your belly a little bit more. Extend, extend, extend. So pull, 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 in. And then scoop your belly and push your butt back down to the floor. Good. Yeah, so it's like you're trying to lengthen and widen your sacrum as you pull that leg in. Nice. Good, you guys. Then release the hold on that thigh, please. Take your left leg all the way on top of your right. Bend your knees. Good. Separate the feet. Reach for your ankles or your shins. So Gomukhasana on your back. Feet are flexed. And again, you're squeezing your inner thighs towards each other just a little bit. The more you squeeze in, rotate in, the wider your lower back is going to feel. And then you can push that low back down to the floor, scoop into your low belly. So you fold your thigh creases a little deeper as those knees come in. Good. Nice, you guys. And again, if your lower back is tight or irritated, I would do this pose every single day. Release your feet, please. Press your shins against each other so you're putting the legs more in eagle pose. Keep the feet flexed so again, you have full activity through your shins. Good. And then right arm comes on top of left in front of the chest. Move your knees forward so that they're right on top of your hips so that you can feel the whole length of your lower spine. Your low belly might have to work a little bit to keep your legs there. That's okay. I'm willing for you to do that. Deep breath in. And then exhale, bring the elbows and knees towards each other. Curl in, but keep that longness of your back. Good. And then inhale, come back to that long spine. Exhale, squeeze in, knees and elbows together. Good. And then release back out. One more time. Bring the knees and the elbows together. Squeeze. And release. Unwind everything. Hug the knees in towards your chest. Good. Scoot your hips over to the left, please. Drop your knees to the right. Keep the knees stacked on top of each other. Good. And the knees should be angled, either they should be straight in line with your hips or slightly above, so slightly more towards your belly. Good. And again, this creates the most neutral feeling for your pelvis. So this is the best stretch for your lower back that you can do in this kind of twisting. So keep your knees on top of each other, in line with each other. And then the left shoulder will fall back as much as it does. If it doesn't come back very far, it feels like it's stressful, take the arm over your ear instead of reaching out. But knees up towards your belly a little bit more. Good. Come back to center, please. Switch to the twist. So moving your hips over to the right, dropping your knees to the left. And then again, added as you come into that, the knees are slightly hip level or slightly above, so can pull your knees up a little bit more. I would even say, Fred, if you can, pull your knees up a little bit more towards your belly. From what I can see. Good. And then you can scoop into your low navel and again, try to push back through your low rib cage. Draw your ribs in and push back into your lower spine. Try and expand the sacrum from the front of the pelvis. Good. And then bring yourself back to center, please. Hug your knees in towards your chest one more time. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees, squeeze. As you squeeze, hollow everything and try and push through the back length of your body. So your ribs draw in to feel the back of your rib cage, the back of your chest, back of your shoulders. Navel pulls in, feel the back of your lower spine. Good. And then release everything, extend the legs out in front of you. Arms alongside you, palms face up. Shavasana. Surrender to the reality that there is just life. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to achieve. Just live. You surrender to that universal flow of breath. The energy that holds you, that is beyond your mind. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. And the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center or whatever mudra has been serving you well. Beyond everything that you can perceive, all the layers of what you think you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. Mandukya Upanishad reminds us that there is one energy, just one. And it's only in our mind that we decide that some parts of that energy or some ways that energy looks are more important than others. And it's in that distinction that we suffer. It's in that feeling of disappointment that somehow there's supposed to be something different, something more, that we lose the essence of knowing that you're everything. That this moment is everything. Your practice is not to achieve anything except for that realization. It's to surrender everything that gets in the way of that truth. That this is everything. This is it. You walking your dog, you doing the laundry, you staring at the sky and thinking nothing. You wondering, who am I? What am I? This is it. This is life. The more you live it 100% of yourself, this moment, without wishing for anything else, we fall into that reality that you are everything. This is everything. You have everything. There's never a question again, am I enough? Because how can you not be? You come from that same energy that is whole, that is complete, absolute. That's you. So maybe practice that idea that I carry wood, that I chop wood and I carry water. I do the mundane things of my life, and those are just as important, equally important as anything else I will ever do. I am here fully present in this moment, and that is equally important to any action, anything I will ever do. That's it. You practice living. And if you practice living, you'll find liberation, you'll find yoga. You got to put your mind there and surrender that feeling of disappointment, surrender that feeling that there should be something more, because this is everything. Close with the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day. If I don't see you, if you're staying for meditation, you don't have to sign out. You can stay on. The meditation is in 10 minutes or so. If I'm not going to see you for the rest of the day, have a great day. I will see you soon. I will unmute you so you can complain.